What's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Totally want to apologize for the last video having awful lighting. I will never do something like that again because I was like outside the window, I was filming by the window and the lighting was really awful, so hopefully this lighting is better for you guys. Sorry about that. I really should probably be doing homework, but I really wanted to film for you. I don't really know why. I just was in the mood to film. I was thinking through this video in my head when I was walking earlier and I was like, oh, this would be really cool to do. And I was like, I really want to film this. But don't worry, I'm gonna get my homework done. It's actually due like on Thursday, but like I do my homework when I get it because I'm a really good student. Try really hard. Alright guys, so basically today we're going to be talking about a really important topic, and that is going to be all about sideboarding, and I'm going to specifically be talking about Modern, mainly because I don't really know anything about Legacy, and I really don't know anything about Standard. So yeah, I'm going to be talking specifically about Modern and cards in Modern, and basically the whole point of this video is really just to give you guys a couple of ideas of things that may be good in your sideboard. Like, this isn't going to be like, oh, you're building this deck, so you should put this in there. I'm actually going to be linking a really great website below, which I really like to use. It's called MTG Top 8, and basically it lists a couple people who have like top 8'd with these decks, and like you could just be like, oh, I want to look at what an affinity deck looks like in Modern. You can do that. You can see a bunch of people's affinity lists, and you can see their sideboard and things like that, and that's where I got a lot of these cards from, because a lot of these, you know, I don't run a lot of these decks that have these cards, but these are really popular cards that would fit a variety of different decks. Of course, if you're like, I'm gonna go out and build like a Bloom Titan deck, Bloom Titan, and I keep calling it Bloom Titan, it's like Amulet Bloom, that's what like everyone calls it. I call it Bloom Titan, I don't know why. But anyways, if you're like, I want to build an Amulet Bloom deck, you can look up like, oh, let's type in Amulet Bloom and let's see what people, there's like specific cards in that deck on the sideboard that you're specifically going to only run in that deck, really. But these are kind of a couple cards that overlap and stuff like that. Some of them are not, but yeah. And yeah, also another thing is too, like, if you are doing this, if you are sideboarding and you're building a deck, I think it's important to look at other people's deck lists, kind of see what everyone else is doing. That's just me. I know some people just kind of like to, I'm going to build this list without really looking at that, but this is how I like to build decks. And also, I think it's really important to look at the pros. Like, when I was thinking of, when I was building Amulet, I was like, I'm gonna look at, like, Justin Cohen, who is, like, very well known for playing Amulet in Modern. Like, I was like, well, I want to see, you know, what he's doing with his deck and stuff like that. So, yeah, alright guys, let's just get started. So, a couple of different categories that I have. The first category is talking about, like, graveyard hate. Now, this is definitely something that I think is important in sideboard, is to have a card or two that really is about, you know, anti-graveyard, you know, something that's going to shut down your opponent so that their trauma goes down as big, so that they just play Snapcaster Mage and they don't have anything to target or something like that. So really important. One of my favorite cards is Rest in Peace. I really like Rest in Peace a lot. I actually have this in my sideboard for black-white tokens, and at first I was like, wow, this card's really awkward for Lingering Souls, but the thing about this card is that you don't even care about flashing back your Lingering Souls at that point, because Rest in Peace literally shuts down a lot of people's decks. This card is absolutely fantastic. I would say, probably depending on your list, you're probably going to be wanting Rest in Peace if you're running white, because this card is literally amazing. It just shuts people down. It's like, cool, you have your Snapcaster Mage, it's 2-1 vanilla at this point, because it just sits there and you can't get anything else with it. It's just, Snapcaster Mage just becomes vanilla at that point, and it's not as good. It's just, there's no targets for it if they don't have a graveyard. So Snapcaster Mage, that's a really great magic card. That is a good magic card, but that's not what we're talking about. Rest in Peace is an awesome magic card. Definitely something that I would really recommend looking into for your sideboard. Another card that is really good, I actually had to look up what this card did because I forgot for a sec. Grafdigger's Cage. This card is definitely, this card is very interesting. It does a lot of different things. I really like this card. It's just really good. It's just a really good card because it's like, okay, I just can't use my graveyard. It's just there, and it's not exiled, I just can't play anything from it. It's definitely a card that does shut down, again, it's like Rest in Peace, same thing, it really just shuts down your opponent, and they can't play spells. What is it? They can't cast, creatures can't enter the battlefield from graveyards or from libraries, yeah. So, you know, it just shuts a lot of people down. It's a really good card. Another card that I really, really love this card, and this is one of the reasons why I really want to build, in the future. I'm gonna get there at some point. I really want to build Sultai in Modern, mainly because I just really appreciate Gerard Fabiano, and I really appreciate his Sultai deck. It's really beautiful. I think he's really great. He's really A+, and I really think he's an awesome Magic player. Like, he's great. So anyways, so I was like, I really like Sultai in Modern. I really like green in Modern because of Scavenging Ooze. I just love this card so much. This card does so many different things. It's like, even if you don't get a +1/+1 counter and you don't gain a life, you just exile something from the graveyard. You just get rid of something. Also, it's just a really nice creature. It's just a really nice body. 2 mana for a 2/2 that does things. Scavenging Ooze is just really good. If you're running green in Modern, you're most likely going to be seeing Scavenging Ooze, sometimes in main board and probably in sideboard because it's just a really good card. Yeah, okay. This card, I really like this card a lot. I realized that this is probably like the 5th video that I've mentioned this card in, and I'm so sorry if you actually consistently watch my videos. Really sorry about that, but Bojuka Bog. I'm sorry, I'm not going to talk about it that much, I promise. Bojuka Bog is really great. It's really awesome with Bloom a lot because you bounce it back and then you can recast it and you just exile their library again. It's just, it does everything in one, and you can search for it with, I was just about to say with Tarmogoyf, you can search it up with Primeval Titan, so I had to stop myself because I wasn't sure if I was filming. I am. I'm really glad. I've been just talking for like 6 minutes there and I was filming. Good to know. Okay, another card that I really like is Relic of Progenitus. This gets on a lot of people's deck lists. Actually, whoa, I gotta look this up because I don't know what it does. Okay, Relic of Progenitus, yeah. Relic of Progenitus is by no means my favorite Magic card ever. However, I understand why some people run it. It is essential. I think that there's kind of better things, but a lot of those other cards that I mentioned are color specific. Like if you're not running white, you can't run Rest in Peace, which is really unfortunate. Rest in Peace is just probably the best. It's probably like my favorite. But yeah, the fact that you have to tap it, you know, it can be a little bit slower and stuff like that. So it's ideally not the best, but a lot of people like this card, and a lot of people do like how you have the option for 1 mana just to exile everything, and you get to draw a card off of it for kind of like 2 mana basically, which is really good. This card's used in a lot of Affinity sideboards, which I understand because Affinity does dump their hand a lot and they do want card draw and stuff like that. So overall, Relic of Progenitus, not my absolute favorite Magic card, but I did want to throw it in here because I know it's on a lot of people's deck lists, and yeah. Okay, great. That's all I have to talk about for Graveyard Hate. Now we're going to move on to Artifact and Enchantment removal. This stuff is really, really important. A lot of artifacts and enchantments that you're going to want to remove. You really want to take care of that stuff. First, I really wanted to mention this one card because I know that tokens is not a huge thing in Modern. However, if you are running tokens, I really would like to recommend Sundering Growth. It's in my sideboard, and it's really good because it's like 2 mana, you get to destroy either or, and I'm a huge fan of cards where you can destroy either artifact or enchantment. I'm going to be talking about a couple that are specific, but I really just like Sundering Growth a lot because you get to populate from it, and it's instant. It's just really good, and it's kind of an awkward card because it's either green or white, but I don't know, depending on what you're playing, that could totally work. If you're playing green tokens, that's totally not a thing. Never mind that. That thought just didn't make sense. Okay, pretend I didn't say that. Okay, yeah, Sundering Growth is really a Magic card. You know, I know it's something that's very specific. It's only going to be used for token decks, but it is one of the cards that's in my sideboard that I just really like a lot, so I wanted to talk to you guys about that. Second card, I run this in Bloom, and this card's really good. Creeping Corision. Wow, this card's like really good. I have played this against Affinity, and if you cast this card against Affinity, they just can't do anything. Like, you play it, and it just blows up their board. And they're like, yep, I just can't do anything about that. And it's like, the thing about it is, like, if you run it in, like, a deck like Amulet, yeah, you blow up your own Amulet, but you literally destroy their whole board, so you don't even care, because you're like, yeah, I got rid of my Amulet, but who cares, because I just killed everything on your field. So, yeah, overall, Creeping Corision is a really good Magic card, and I really like it a lot. Okay. This card is absolutely amazing. Stony Silence, again, very specific to artifacts. However, this card against Tron and against Affinity, it's one again, it just shuts them down. It's just like you play it and then they just like, yep, okay, well, Tron is like, I can't activate my mana things, I can't activate my mana dorks and things, or their mana rocks, whatever. And Affinity is just like, yep, I just can't do things. And it's like, yep, it's just overall, Stony Silence is really good. It's saved my butt a lot. I like won against a game of Tron because of it, because it just does so much work. Nature's Claim is another one, and the fact that this card is 1 mana for what it does, yeah, your opponent gains life, they gain 4 life, which potentially can be relevant. But the thing that's cool about this card is you can always use it against your own stuff, which is really awesome. Like, you'll famously see if you watch Amulet games, people will, like, destroy their own Amulet just so that they can gain 4 life. Like, if someone else is to destroy their Amulet and they're like, nope, actually, in response, I'm going to destroy it and I get to gain 4 life out of it, which is really cool. So, Nature's Claim is a really cool card. I really like it a lot. Destructive Revelry. If you're running green and red in Modern, i.e. Burn, I think that's the only deck that's coming to me right now that runs those colors together. There's probably more, but I just can't think of them right now. Yes, you need to be running Destructive Revelry because this card is actually amazing. This card's really, really good. It's just, it does everything that a burn card wants to. It gets rid of an artifact or enchantment, and it deals 3 damage to them. It's like, how that card's amazing, amazing. If you're running those colors, you actually need to be running this card to your sideboard. Like, it's just that good. It's just really awesome. This is a card that, again, I was really hesitant about mentioning. It's not one of my favorite Magic cards ever, but Ancient Grunge. I know a lot of people really like this card. I think there are personally better things, but I don't want to throw it in here because I know it's in a lot of people's lists. The fact that you can, you know, flash it back so you can, you know, have the chance to destroy something, another, artifact after that, I don't really like it. I think there's just better things. But again, I like to mention it because I know it's on a lot of people's lists. Okay, then the card Wear and Tear. I really like this one a lot. This one's really good. I like how it has the dual purpose, which is really good. If you're very, very choked in your sideboard, choked, that's a Magic card. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But if you're really choked in your sideboard and you really, really are like, I don't have a lot of room for artifacts or enchantments and I want to do both, Wear and Tear is a really good option if you're running that. And what I really like about it is that you can run this card, and if you do have available room or something like that, like you can only use it for one or for the other. Like if you're not running red or white together, you know, you can always have that option. So yeah, that's it. Okay, that's it for artifact and enchantment stuff. Now we're going to talk about land destruction. Now, I really don't like land destruction. I think it's really rude. Had a really bad experience where I was going to pay for my Pact and someone played Karn and exiled my land. That was a really bad time. That was a pretty awful game. He just played Karn. He's like, I exile your land, do I win? And I was like, I mean, yeah. And he's like, I feel really rude. And I was like, I mean, no. It was really weird. I was really upset about that. Anyways, okay, so a couple lands that we want to talk about. One of my favorite lands to destroy things is Ghost Quarter. I really like Ghost Quarter a lot. Yeah, they get a basic out of it. But you destroy a land. This card's really good against Tron because you just sack it and you blow up one of their Tron lands and they can't do the things they want to with their mana, which is really good. And secondly, Tectonic Edge is a really popular one. I am not a huge fan of Tectonic Edge. I personally like Ghost Quarter better, and I think it's a personal preference thing at this point. My whole thing is that, the thing about Tectonic Edge is that they don't get the basic lands. However, they have to control 4 or more lands. And my whole thing is Modern's a very quick format that I feel like Tectonic Edge can kind of just sit there, where with Ghost Quarter I kind of like having the option of just like, boom, sack, go, you know, I'm just gonna blow up your land. So, yes, Tectonic Edge really is pretty okay. Another card that's really good, and this is, again, definitely a card that burn decks really like, is Molten Rain, because it destroys a land and it deals some damage. So it's kind of just a really good day for burn decks, because they're like, yes, I would like to destroy your land so that you can't do whatever it is that you want to sooner, and yeah, I would really like to deal you damage, which is what the burn deck wants. So Molten Rain is really good, and the next is Fulminator Mage. Fulminator Mage is really sweet. It's kind of just a cool card, because it's like a body. I'm a huge fan, and I'm going to do a whole video on this. Like, I'm going to do a whole video just talking about, like, creatures that also remove things, because I think it's just, like, one of the best things in Magic, because it's like you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It's like, you get a creature, you get a body if you need it, but if you don't need the creature or whatever, you can just, you know, do what, you know, you can use it as for its removal. So, Fulminator Mage is really cool. Okay, now we're going to be talking about creature removal. Lots of really good things to talk about in creature removal and stuff like that. First thing is Malestorm Pulse. Malestorm Pulse is really good. I've actually seen it in a couple people's main boards, and I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like in Modern, though, it's a format that, you know, you're probably going to be running, like, you're going to be running multiple copies of, like, a lot of things. You're going to be running multiple Tarmogoyfs and things like that, so that's why Malestorm Pulse is in, like, some people's main boards, but I think it's a really good sideboard card, especially against tokens, because you just play Malestorm Pulse and you just blow up everything that they have, basically, so Malestorm Pulse is really cool. Slaughter Pact. I really, really love Slaughter Pact, like, a lot. It's just really good because not a lot of people are really expecting it. Like, if you're playing a game and you're playing white and you keep a white mana open, they're like, yep, okay, they're gonna path my dude. But if you have, like, Slaughter Pact and you tap out for it and they're like, well, I can just do whatever it is that I want to and I will be fine. Nope, Slaughter Pact. Just by the way, make sure you actually pay for your pact. That's like really important. Or make sure when you play your pact, you can actually you can pay for it. Like the next turn you can actually pay for it, because guess who actually did that in a legitimate Modern event? This girl right here. I'm a really good Magic player, actually. I was like, I totally have 2 green mana for Pact, not Pact of Negation. What's the green one? Summoner's Pact. I was like, I didn't. Moral of the story is I literally lost because I couldn't pay for my own Pact. Don't be that guy. Please, please don't be like me in that instance. Just make sure you have enough mana for your Pact, okay? Okay, great conversation. Anyway, Slaughter Pact is really sweet. It's definitely one of those cards that is definitely sideboard worthy. Not a lot of people are expecting it, again, because you tap out for it and they're like, whatever. And then you're like, Slaughter Pact, and it's a good day. Okay, awesome. Celestial Purge. I really like this card a lot. I like how it has that multi-purpose of, first off, it's exile, which is sweet. So they can't get it back with their graveyard, which is awesome. And second off, it's just like, well, I'm gonna like exile a try again, black or red. So it's really, really good against burn matchups. It just deals with a lot of things. It's a very anti-Jund card. So overall, I just really like Celestial Purge. It's in my sideboard for tokens and I like it. Board wipe, Pyroclasm. Pyroclasm's really good. It deals with a lot of different things. It deals with a lot of like smaller stuff. It's definitely really good on the earlier game. Pyroclasm is just really good. Engineered Explosives is really cool. I actually haven't ever like played with this card, but it's on a lot of people's lists. It's on a lot of people's sideboard lists and stuff like that. And Engineered Explosives is just really cool. It just does a bunch of different things. It's just like, it literally shuts tokens down because they just are like, yep, I just kill all your tokens. Engineered Explosives is really good. Anger of the Gods, again, another classic. It's very similar to Pyroclasm. It's just gonna deal, 3 damage to everything, and they can't be regenerated, which is really cool. I'm pretty sure they can't be regenerated. I'm pretty sure that's the wording on it. Okay, Dismember. Dismember is not one of my favorite cards ever. Like, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. And I feel really weird like talking about some cards that I don't like, but these are cards that are popular and these are cards that you're gonna see a lot, so kind of want to talk about them. My only thing with Dismember is like, I do like how you have the option of like paying with it with life, so it's just like 1 mana to basically kill something, but it's a little bit awkward because there are ways, of giving creatures, +1/+1 and things like that, but, Dismember's not awful. It's just not one of my favorite cards ever. I think there's like better removal. Like I'd rather run like a Slaughter Pact over a Dismember, but I don't know. Okay, Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay is just like really good. I threw this in the creature removal spot. I mean, Abrupt Decay can be used for like anything, but yeah, Abrupt Decay is just good. It's just really good. It's one of the reasons why I do want to build that Sultai deck, because I just want to run Abrupt Decay, because it's just like one of the best Magic cards ever. It just deals with like basically everything. It's like I just don't like this thing on your board, and it just gets rid of a lot of stuff. It's probably not going to be a card in your hand because you're probably going to be getting rid of something that they have that's, mana cost 3 or less. Abrupt Decay, super good card. Okay, and then I just kind of want to group these 2 cards together because they basically do the same thing. The only difference is colors. We have Damnation and we have Wrath of God. They're nothing fancy. They just do what you need them to. They just blow up the board. Yeah, I think these cards are just really good. They're very simple. They're nothing super fancy. It's just like, I don't like the board. Let's just get rid of it. And the last card I want to talk about for creature removal is really, really good card against Splinter Twin is Rending Volley. Yeah, if I'm playing red in Modern, if I ever build a Modern deck that has red in it, I'm totally going to be putting Rending Volley in this because it's just anti-blue. I'm going to just get rid of your Deceiver Exort, I'm going to get rid of your Pestermite, and you can't counter it. And the blue deck is just like, okay, I can't do anything about that, so my combo does not go off. So Rending Volley is a super good card. Okay, cool. I have a couple of counters that I want to talk about. I don't want to get too in-depth in counters because I feel like counters are very intuitive, and I don't really feel like I need to explain why counters are good or like why certain I just don't feel like I really need to do that because I feel like counters just make, I feel like they're intuitive and stuff. Dispel. Dispel's really good. It's just a 1 mana, I don't like your instant. you're going to be playing instants in this game, so Dispel is just really good, and it's 1 mana, so you can't really beat that. Negate. Yeah, Negate just kind of does what it says. It does what it says. Yep, that was really great. Yep. Alright. Yeah, Negate, it deals with basically everything that you need it to. Actually, that's a lie. It really doesn't. It just deals with non-creature. But, you know, it deals with the majority of stuff that you're gonna want it to. Spell Pierce. Am I thinking of this one? Yeah, Spell Pierce is really good. It's really good if they tap out or they just have like that awkward like 1 mana left and it's like, oop, and it's 1 mana, so that's really good. And, you know, we're talking about Modern. Every single bit of mana is really important since this is a turn 4 format, so you really want things to be very, very inexpensive and mana-wise, and Spell Pierce definitely is that. Flashfreeze. I really like the art on Flashfreeze a lot. I think it's really cool. I really like this art. It's just like, I love the blue. It's like really cool. But anyways, this is such a good sideboard card. It just really is, because it's like, it's just counter target, so it's just like, anything that you have that's red or green that I don't like, we're just gonna counter it. So it's just really good. And then we have Spell Snare, which this card is very good against me when I'm playing tokens, because a lot of my stuff in there is 2 mana. It's like Raise the Alarm, Intangible Virtue, and things like that. So Spell Snare is definitely really cool. I really like it. Okay, and then we're gonna move on to creatures, and I only have 1 creature actually in sideboard, and I wasn't originally gonna talk about this, but then I was looking up like cards for this video and I saw this on so many people's sideboards and I was like, yes. So if you're someone who you're building a deck, and I mean, this goes in like so many different deck lists that I was looking up, but like if you're just building a deck and you just need life, you just need lifelink, life totals matter in the game that you're playing, you need another creature, something like that, you need blockers, whatever, because you don't run a lot in your main board, something like that, Wurmcoil Engine is just amazing. I just really like this card a lot. Like, I have it in Bloom, and it's really good because someone says to me, they're like, no one really, like, expects out of your deck, because I'm building Naya Bloom, and I'm not building the typical Hive Mind, so they're like, no one really expects your deck to be running Wurmcoil Engine. I'm like, isn't it great, because you can get it with Ancient Stirrings, which is, like, super sweet if you don't get a land or you don't get an amulet, so that's really cool. But yeah, Wurmcoil Engine is just, like, it's just, like, you don't even need to swing with it. I mean, like, absolutely you can, but, like, if you just need it as a blocker, it's just, like, there. It's, like, just this, like, big body, and it just, like, does cool things. So Wurmcoil Engine is super great. Okay, and then the last category that I'm going to be talking about is, I call this category the just no category, because this is kind of like all the stuff that like doesn't really fit into another category. It's just kind of like, I don't like what you're doing, just no, go away. Okay, so first 2 cards are very similar, and so I kind of want to group them together. We have Boil and we have Choke. Both these cards are really great. I like them both for different reasons. And if you're just like in a matchup where it's like they're running like blue, like you're playing against Merfolk, or you know, you're playing against a deck that has a lot of blue in it, it's just like, I just don't like those islands, just get them away from me. So yeah, these cards are just really good. Yeah, I like them both. I mean, I don't know which one I'd pick over the other. I do like Boil because it's just like, if you cast it and you like blow up their board, and you have like enough damage on the board, they're just gonna be dead, and so them playing another land doesn't really matter too much. And this goes for like shock lands and stuff, which is really cool, so yeah. Okay, now we're gonna talk about, I grouped these cards together because they do the same thing. We have Blood Moon, and then we have Magnus of the Moon. If you're running Collected Company, yes to Magnus of the Moon. Card is really good. This is a card that just shuts people down. It shuts people out of the game, because you play this card and they're like, lots of people don't run basic lands, so it's like, okay, well, I have my thing, and it's like, they're just mountains, and a lot of people just can't really deal with that. So yeah, these cards are really good. Like I said, if you're playing Coco, you just, Magnus of the Moon, and you're playing red with it, obviously. Magnus of the Moon is just really strong, which is why I wanted to include them both in here, because Coco plus Magnus of the Moon is just disgusting. Oh, it's gross. I love it. Alright, then we have Torpor Orb. I know a lot of people have really mixed feelings on this card. I don't think this card is bad. I like Torpor Orb. I think it's pretty cool. I think it does a bunch of different things. It stops Twin, basically. It's like, it just says no to twin, which is really cool. So Torpor Orb, and I think it is good definitely in a bunch of different matchups. Like, I'll have people bring in Torpor Orb against me with Primeval Titan, and I'm like, well, I mean, I don't get my trigger right away, which is pretty, you know, which is pretty good. It's like, I'm still gonna get the triggers afterwards, but, you know, Torpor Orb is really cool. Alright, now we have Leyline of Sanctity, and I really like this card a lot, because Leyline of Sanctity is, again, it's just one of those just, no cards. It's like, if you have it in your opening hand, that's like really sweet, because you just play it, and it's like, you just can't do hand destruction. Hand destruction cards are really, really relevant in Modern. If you're running black, you're gonna be running hand destruction for the most part, so, yeah. Okay. I love this magic card a lot. A lot. That is Zealous Persecution. This card is absolutely fantastic. This card does so many different things, because you play this card, it shuts down Twin for a turn, because it's like, great, you've made infinite tokens, but they're all, you killed their Pestermite, or their Deceiver Exart is a 0/3. They swing for a lot of damage. Well, it is no damage, because it's 0. So, yeah, just a really good card. Zealous does a lot of work, it does a lot of different things, and if anything, it just gives you the bonus. It just gives you, like, the, my dudes get +1/+1, which is just really relevant, and Zealous Persecution is just a nutty card. It's just, like, it's one of those cards that just, like, it's just so good. Just, like, run that card, please. It's, like, really good. Alright, so then we have Spellskite. Yeah, Spellskite is just... I love this card with Boggles. If you're playing against Boggles, it's just so fun, because it's like, oh, I'm gonna give my Hexproof dude this. Nope, my Spellskite gets it. Like, Spellskite is just one of those most annoying magic cards, and I love it, because it's like, again, it's just one of those just no cards. It's like, nope. I like your thing. I want it. My Spellskite wants it. And it's like, it's just, I want to use this. I want to draw this card against Boggles. I just want them to laugh and probably scoop up their cards, because they're like, this is really awkward. Okay. And the last card that I want to talk about in this video is a card that I really like, and I actually was kind of surprised as to how many people's deck lists I saw this on after I was just kind of glancing at cards. I wasn't like looking too in depth and stuff, but I saw this card on a bunch of people's sideboards, and I'm changing up my Bloom deck a little bit, so this card is going to be in sideboard and not main board, but Bojuka, who shelters all, I always feel like I'm saying that wrong, Bojuka, not sure. The card's really good. This card's a really good anti-blue card. If you have an issue in your deck where you're like, I really want to cast all these cool instants and sorceries, but I can't because blue is like, no, you run Bojuka and you pay 2 life, you probably don't really care about that 2 life because you get to cast whatever it is that you want, which is i.e. me with Tooth and Nail, because if I cast Tooth and Nail, I'm most likely going to win in my Bloom deck, so it's like, I have an uncounterable Tooth and Nail, be scared, because that card is just like really good. Tooth and Nail and Bojuka, both of them are really sweet, and both of them together are just really good. So, yeah guys, that was it. That was it for sideboard. Talking all about like sideboarding stuff. I hope this was like helpful. Hopefully you guys got some like cool, I mean I hope you guys kind of get things out of my videos anyway, but I really hope you found some cool things for sideboard, maybe cards that you have not heard of before, maybe cards that you have. That's it for me. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!